lockdown. So
oh, fantastic. We have lockdown here in Sierra Leone, 11 o'clock, all indoors. Still curfew. Still have curfews here in Sierra Leone, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad, I mean.
Okay, so we are now live on the Diaspora Kitchens. I am here with Betty Vardy, also known as Bettylicious and Bettylicious Cooks, and she is going to be taking us through making peanut soup from Sierra Leone.
That's right. So, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing? How is Sierra Leone?
You know what, girl? It's so hot. It is just so hot, but I'm loving it. I can't even complain. It's just it's been a beautiful day. We've just finished like rainy season. So, well, actually, it's the tail end of rainy season here in Sierra Leone. So it's all good. But yeah, it's really hot, and I'm in my compound. My family and I live in Godrich, so this is our family home, and yeah, it's lovely and hot. Beautiful.
That is so good to hear. That's a very different scene to those who are in the UK.
Yeah, cold.
We are just going and if you could just introduce yourself, about your brand, what you cook, and what you stand for as well, because I'm very interested in the type and the kind of food you make.
Oh, thanks, Leonie. Well, basically, my business is called Bettylicious Cooks, and I came to Africa a year ago to explore plant-based food in Africa, because I'm a chef. I'm a plant-based chef, and I was working in the UK for myself and also for other people cooking plant-based food. So my journey kind of like I wanted to come to Africa and explore food for myself. I came initially last year in 2019. I went to Nigeria, and I just absolutely loved the street food that I was also cooking back in the UK. But when I got to Nigeria, I really got a sense that they're cooking real street food, and I need to come back. So I spent about 2.5 weeks in Nigeria, and I thought, no, I need to come back to Africa. And so literally I just planned my trip and I came out here. But my background has always been hospitality and food. I studied that at university. Shout out Thames Valley University people, that's what I did. But I've just got a passion for African food and ingredients, and I wanted to explore that a lot more. So I came here. The plan was to be here for 6 months, and I've actually now moved here. So for me, it's just, I went to Ghana for 3.5 months. I went to Liberia. I went to Ivory Coast, and now I'm in Sierra Leone. My family have a home here, and I ended up staying here. So I'm exploring the food here and looking at, opening my own sustainable cafe out here in Sierra Leone. So, it's just, Sierra Leone is just an amazing, amazing place with amazing fresh ingredients. And I'm just so happy to be here to explore it, really, and to obviously have you here, with me, Leonie. So, yeah.
Thank you. And if you haven't, please check out her Instagram, where there are highlights of her time in the different West African countries. Like, I really enjoyed seeing the similarities of the food, but also the differences of them as well. Have for you is, what would you say is your first memory of cooking? What inspired you to want to work in food, but specifically plant-based food?
Well, it was 2014, and I was ill. Like many Black women, we have health conditions that affect our race of women. And for me, I had fibroids for the second time in 2014. I developed fibroids, and I just thought to myself, if I can I just thought to myself, the doctor said to me, we can take you into hospital, give you keyhole, remove the fibroids because they're small this time round. But I already had an operation prior to that, a few years before that. And they were huge, like the size of footballs. And I thought to myself, okay, what can I do? And I just thought, I'm just going to stop eating meat. So I stopped eating meat. No, I ate fish, but I just stopped eating everything else. And I cut out dairy. And within 3 months, my health just completely changed. And I just became this, advocate. I was shouting, telling people what I was eating and how it changed my life and things like that. So I knew it was the food. And I also was passionate about food anyway. So for me, it wasn't like a chore. I cook good food anyway. So I enjoyed that experience. And then when it came down to it, I just thought to myself, okay, there's some vegan people that had tried my food, and they were like, oh, it's African food. And I was like, yeah. And then kind of it snowballed from there, where I was able to kind of produce really good quality African plant-based food and make a business out of it. So that's been going since 2014. And prior to that, I've got a very extensive background in catering and hospitality anyway. But for me, it was like a turning point where I thought I can actually do something with this. And there's more to African food than, you know, the end note of every other kind of food. You know, it's standalone good. So for me, it was like I saw an opportunity to kind of like step out, and that's when I began to discover so many people across the world. And you know, I discovered Brian Terry, who's like a really remarkable plant-based chef in America. I discovered so many people. I discovered the Canadian vegan, who's a Ghanaian girl, who does amazing work around, you know, plant-based food. I discovered the plant-based African, London Afro-vegan. So I've discovered a whole community of Black people that were eating just like myself. And I've not looked back, really. You know, I've not looked back. So for me, you know, plant-based food has been my liberation, really. It's been my healing. It's been my health. So it's brought me to Africa, and you know, that's what I want to do. That's where I feel my strength is, and I want to continue to do that. I'm here in my kitchen now. So yeah, that's me, Leonie. That's me.
No, that is really interesting. Honestly, the connection between health and food as well. Like, as Africans and as Black people, we do love food. It is like a community, family. It really does bond us. But there are ways to enjoy food that is good for our health as well. So just before you start, I just wanted to ask, is the story behind your dish? Why did you pick to cook this dish for us today?
Okay, because when I started this recipe was originally for the book, Community Comfort, which raised money for your fantastic organization, the Better Initiative. And you know, Riaz, who you know curated the book, said to me, "Cook a dish that's got comfort." You know what I mean? Cook a dish that's really comforting. And I said to him, "Oh, it has to be my groundnut stew." And you know, my groundnut, well, in Ghana you call it soup, and it's slightly runny, but in Sierra Leone it's thicker. And we call it soup as well, but I call it stew because I was raised calling it a stew, but it is a soup in essence. So this for me really is a dish that I grew up eating as a child. I was raised eating this dish, and for me it just kind of, you know, it was the dish that my mother used to cook when I left. You know, when I left home and I moved down to that big London, and I would come back, you know, and I would ring and say, she'd say to me, "You're coming home?" And I'd say, "Yeah, I'm coming home to Liverpool," and she would cook that dish for me. It's the dish that, you know, my parents, we ate African at home all the time. And if there was one, you know, I didn't like most of the food that we ate as kids because everything had like tripe and everything else in it. I didn't like. But when they cooked groundnut soup, it was like, that was just out of the water, my dish. And it's just always been, it just means for me comfort. And especially when you have like cold winters in the UK and you have those nights where you just come home and you're just cold and you just want something that's going to give you that spice and that kick. You know, this is the dish. And it's so simple. And, you know, the book Community Comfort that, you know, Riaz created, I was so pleased with the response because people get it. You know, African food is not complex. African food is, the flavors are complex, but it's very easy to cook if you follow instructions. And that's what I've gathered from people. It's been cooked by chefs, it's been cooked by families, it's been cooked by single people, it's been cooked by communities, you know, across the world that have embraced, you know, the Community Comfort book. That's raised thousands, you know. So this dish is my dish of comfort. And now I'm so happy that other people are also embracing that. I'm so surprised at the response. So it's a really simple dish, just really good flavors. And it doesn't take that long to cook at all.
Yeah, I think that is so key as well. Some people think that any African dish is a whole affair, but this one, we are going to be able to do it within the time that we have. So
absolutely.
If you would like to start now, you can.
Okay, then sure. So basically, what I've done is I've already prepared all the ingredients already out here. This is my kitchen. 1 second. Okay. So can you see all the ingredients here? Can you see the ingredients?
Yes.
So we've got onions, and in Syria we call onions yabas. So we've got onions, we've got carrots. 1 second. I tried to put extra light in it, but I don't think I'm not sure if we're going to need that anyway. 1 second. Let me put out a little bit of information on it. Sorry, my cousin's just taken my tablet. Right.
No worries.
So we've got here the ingredients, 2 trays of ingredients. So we've got onions, carrots, peppers. Can you see those peppers? So these are like habaneros that we buy here in the market in Syrian. But obviously, if you've got peppers, you know, chili peppers, you can use those, the ones that you have in your home. We've got smooth peanut butter, which was ground today in the market. So that's pure ground today, purely ground today. We've got some garlic. We're supposed to have ginger, but I've not got any in mind today. We've got onions. We've got the carrots, the 2 medium carrots. We've got, okay, so chickpeas, I said you can have chickpeas, but these are actually beautiful large beans that we have here in Syria. Can you see those? So we have they're like kidney beans and they're like brown and reds. Then I said spinach, but here we've got potato leaves. Can you see that? We've got potato leaves. We call those, so they're actually sweet potato leaves instead of spinach that we have here. And there's those beans again. The different colours. I go back, we have carrots, we have onions, we have garlic, ground nuts, and the chilies. There you go. Okay. Oh, and tomato. We've got a tin of tomato here. A tin of tomato. There you go. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put inside our matawudu. So we're going to use a traditional means of cooking. So we're going to preparing our ingredients. So the first thing we need to do is to grind the tomatoes, so the onions with the peppers and the garlic. So that's going to go into our matawudu and mata pencil. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So this is, if you can imagine a pestle and mortar, this is what a matawudu and a mata pencil looks like. So this is, the wood is the wudu. Can you see that? And then, so is the pencil, and this is the matawudu, if you can see that. So we're just going to put our onions in there. We're going to put our onions in there and our pepper into the pencil, into the matawudu. And our onions together. We're going to put our garlic in there. Hold that. So we've got our onions, garlic, pepper. That's all gone inside. And now we're going to beat that with our pencil. So that's going to take about 7 minutes to do that. I'll just beat that down, basically. And my cousin's going to do that because she's here to help me. This is my young cousin, so she's going to give us a hand. So she's just going to beat that down. So this will take about, like I said, 7 minutes. And then that'll be ready to go, basically. That's the first stage done of that just being ground down. So it'll take time. So while that's going on, I guess we can discuss that again. Should I just run through that again, or is that okay?
To ask, so for people who do not have the traditional utensils, recommend that they use those ingredients.
You can use a blender. You can chop it if you're able to. If you're able-bodied and you're able to, you can use your hands to chop it finely. You can use a food processor, but don't make it too smooth. Don't make it too smooth. That's my preference. But some people like a very smooth paste for their ground nuts. I prefer mine just with a bit of texture, especially with my garlic and with my ginger. But some people actually blend their ginger literally to juice form. They just want the flavour. but just keep beating it. And also it's a very nice consistency, and I'll show you the consistency that I like. But I think it's about preference as well. But if you've got a processor, a blender, if you've got really good knife skills, you can use any of those options to get the mixture that you
need. So is this that you would use in the UK as well? Or did you only have like the traditional means once you moved to Sierra Leone?
Well, you know what? I came to Sierra Leone. I was traveling across to Sierra Leone. When I was in Ghana, I had access to a lot of equipment. You know, when I was in Liberia, I didn't have access to a kitchen. I had access to other people's kitchens, and they cooked. And the same was for Liberia. I was in kitchens actually, when I got to Liberia, they had matter wood and matter pencil. Keep beating that. They had matter wood and matter pencil in Liberia. When I came to Sierra Leone, we've got a very modern kitchen. I can just show you what the kitchen is like. It's very, we have a modern kitchen, we have all the cupboards, we have microwave, etc. But the funny thing is, when I got here, I said to my dad, where's the blender? I said, Dad, where's the blender? And he said to me, we don't need a blender, we've got a matter wood and a matter pencil. And so I was kind of like, the chef in me was like, this is just unacceptable. But to be honest with you, I'm so used to it now. I don't see not having a blender as being, unacceptable. I just see it as, I'm here in a different country, I'm adapting, and I actually prefer to use the matter wood and the matter pencil when I'm cooking. So for me, it's not really, it's a non-issue for me, really. It's not an issue for me at all. You just have to be able to use it. So it's ready now. Let's get started. So yeah, does that answer the question?
Yes, it does. Thank you. So
yeah.
Would you say that there's a different flavor or texture that you don't get with the blender then?
I think the food tastes better in Africa when you're using traditional materials. That's myself personally. And I don't mean that in in an arrogant or a super spiritual way. I just genuinely think that the food tastes better when you cook it, when you do it this way. I find that the food's got more flavor in it. I don't know really. I think I'm cooking with a lot more care since I've been in Africa. I cook differently. I feel differently about food on the whole. Being in Africa, I just feel very different about it. But I think traditional methods, it allows you to spend time with your family. Everyone's sitting around. Not everybody, but like the women in our family, they'll sit around when you're cooking. People share. We have time to talk. The pace is slowed down. Not that the food is cooked any slower, but the food is cooked. But people just take time in the process. If my auntie's cooking, if the women are cooking, we're together. Everyone is taking time. There is no rush. We're going to eat. We know we're going to eat, but we're going to enjoy. We're going to banter. We're going to be talking. Someone's going to get cussed. Someone's going to get banter attacked. We're like women. We're like any other family, and this is how we do it here in Sierra Leone. So yeah, but I think my food tastes different. My cooking tastes different here. I think that's because of the ingredients, and that's just because and a lot of the things are fresh. Like I said, the groundnut that we have today, that was prepared fresh. So we've now done let me just take you to the mixture. So we've got the onions in here, and we've got the onions, the garlic. It's all mashed, and that's a good consistency. That's a good consistency. So now what we're going to do now is we're going to add the tomatoes to that as well. We're going to add the tomatoes and just grind and just beat those in as well with the stick. With the pencil, we're going to beat those with the pencil now. We'll do that gently. And that will just take about 15 seconds. Okay. So while that's going on.
Yes, I just wanted to also ask about, when you speak about the food tasting better and fresher. So did you always have plans to move to Sierra Leone then, or was it something?
I did. What happened was I had plans to move to Sierra Leone. To move to Africa, and I went to Ghana first. I was there for 3.5 months. I loved Ghana, loved the north, and I'd been to Ghana before, so it's kind of like I was kind of like in a fantasy that it was going to be Ghana. I was going to move to Ghana. It's going to be the place. the plan was that I would be in Africa for 6 months, and I went to Ghana initially because I really loved it. And I was there for 3.5 months. Let's turn this on, babe. Let's turn this on. I was there for 3.5 months, and I really enjoyed my experience in Ghana and the farms. I met lots of farmers and things like that, but I just knew it wasn't for me to live there. I love it. It's very modern. You can get an Uber everywhere. Good living. Vegetables and fruits are inexpensive in Ghana. I mean, loved it. Lost a ton of weight eating vegetables and fruits. The weather was just amazing. Just drinking tons of water and eating pineapples and mangoes for breakfast, literally every day for breakfast. Yeah. Just, you know what I mean? Eating, porridge, and just, that lovely, what's it called? What they eat in the morning?
The cocoa?
Cocoa, oh yes, House of Cocoa. Oh gosh, I was like addicted to that every day. But I knew for me, I came to Sierra Leone to visit my parents. I was supposed to be here for 2 weeks to go back to Ghana to do a festival. I was supposed to do a festival in Ghana to do a plant-based food for a festival. And when I got to Ghana, when I came to Sierra Leone, COVID hit. COVID just hit really badly. And but when I got to Sierra Leone, I arrived here and it changed. And it wasn't like it developed it developed slightly from before, but I just knew to myself, I need to live in Sierra Leone. I just knew it. And so I made a decision that it wasn't Ghana, it was actually Sierra Leone that I meant to be. I meant to stay here and live here. So the plan is to kind of like move here and establish sustainable cafes and work with farmers, etc., for farm to table food experiences, and work with local potters to make the plates, the bowls, the cups, etc., all for the dining experience here. So I want to really kind of like put African food on the map, Sierra Leonean food on the map. So that's the plan. And so it was kind of like accidental. So it's been a year now. It's actually been a year and 3 weeks that I've been in Africa. Is it a year? Yeah, about a year and 3 weeks. So what was meant to be 6 months is now kind of like, I'm moving here. So I've known since I was 9 that I wanted to live in Africa. So for me, it was kind of like, okay, it had to happen this way. And, so the next plan is to go back to the UK, pack my things and bring them all my things are packed anyway. So the plan is to bring them all back over here and to develop, eating places where people can eat and eat good food in Sierra Leone and eat all the beautiful ingredients that the farmers make, and kind of like just enjoy good quality ingredients, you know what I mean, that fresh, and cook with an Afro-fusion feel to it. So that's the plan, really. That's the plan. So the mixture's ready now. Does that answer the question? Is that okay?
Yes, very much. That answers the question and more.
Okay. So let's just we're going to add the tomatoes are ready. They'll be mixed in, and we're going to add it to the water. So put that in the water now. We're going to add the mixture. So that's ready. And then we've got the water on the stove. We've got our water on the stove. You see that? The water is there. And it's boiling. Well, it should have been, well, it's okay. It doesn't have to be boiling. And we're going to put the mixture, which is the onions, the onions, the peppers, the garlic, ginger, if you do have it, into the pot. Can you see that, Leonie? I think someone's got a question. Has someone got a question?
Yes, I do have a question. So in terms of plant-based food, is that something all your family eat as well?
No, they don't. I want my family to eat plant-based, but they don't. I mean, especially my African family that live here, they just think I'm like crazy. They're just like, why are you not eating meat? My family are much more fish people. They prefer fish a lot. Because Sierra Leone is on the coast, and we're famous for our fish, so they tend to eat a lot of fish in my family. But I tend to eat a lot of the vegetables and things like that, and I'm happy with that. And I tend to like cook my own food, so that's not a problem really. You know what I mean? I'm a chef, so I do my own thing. So that is mixed in nicely.
Okay, so
Sierra Leone is very famous for its fish. That's in the pot. And so that's all, that's the base. That's the base. So you would put your stock in there, you'd put all your ingredients in there, and and the tomato puree as well, but I'm not putting in that in my dish today. And then we're going to just allow that to boil. And once that's done, once you've got a very good base, you're gonna have a really delicious groundnut. I mean, it's so simple to make. This will be ready in about the next 20 minutes. It'll be ready in 20 minutes, literally. Once this bit boils, we'll be away. And this can be served with rice. It can be served with couscous. It can be served with fonio. It can serve with bulgur, even with a lovely bread. And with doubles, maybe, like with Caribbean doubles, Trini doubles, sort of thing. So it can go with anything, basically. It can go with anything.
Yeah. It's also a staple in Ghana as well.
It is. I ate so much in Ghana. I ate so much of this stuff in Ghana. Beautiful in Ghana. Beautiful.
It is loved. In terms of your sustainability cafe idea that you want to create, so would it all be plant-based? Will meat be available? Fish be available?
No, it won't be. It will be vegetarian and vegan. The cafe will be vegetarian and vegan. So the plan is to work with local farmers. My father has a farm here, and he does eggs. He does chicken eggs. So that's all he does, just chicken eggs. But we also have land on that farm, and we produce vegetables, etc. So I'll be growing vegetables on there. I'll be growing fresh mint, etc., and coriander, squash. Which we call jakato here in Sierra Leone. Actually, eggplants. You call them eggplants in Ghana. We call them jakato here in Sierra Leone. So I'll be growing those. We also grow something called cassava leaves. The cassava leaves we grow, we eat that as well. So we'll be growing all those sorts of things. And so we'll be using that in the restaurant. So in the diner. It'll be casual dining, Afrofusion casual dining. And so the plan really is just to work with farmers that produce things like groundnuts, produce things like the jakato, produce things like cucumbers. We have loads of cucumbers here in this country. We have loads of mangoes, lots of pineapples. When they're in season, we just have them in abundance. And we don't tend to export in this country. So it really is about finding not just also ways of cooking, but also preserving those ingredients with fermentation, and also, producing things like jams and chilies, etc. And so people, if we want to come and dine, they can dine, but they can also go away with a jar of something or, a bottle of something that they can use in their homes. So I want to create a space where people can also eat from plates that are made in Sierra Leone. They can drink from cups that are made in Sierra Leone. They can sit on walnut tables and chairs that are made from sustainable wood from Sierra Leone. So I want to create an entire experience that people can really be engaging and be proud that this is all Sierra Leonean.
So do you find that the restaurants, the places you've been to tend not to have Sierra Leonean goods or furniture?
They don't. They tend to be very kind of Eurocentric in that, you could imagine yourself being on holiday, going to a place like that. Very shiny, very glitzy, neon sort of lights that are hidden around the edge of the place. We have some nice places, but I just think for me, it's really important that, I can create a space where people can just eat really good quality Sierra Leonean ingredients that are made in a different way. We have some superb chefs in this country, abroad. We have some really good chefs abroad who are Sierra Leoneans. We have Maria Bradford. We have the Maylata. These women are all on social media. These women have access to, they have a passion for Sierra Leonean food. We have a woman called Renata, who does amazing vegan plant-based food. She lives in Belgium, and she's coming over soon. We have another girl called Nikki, who's from New York, Sierra Leone, who's currently here now. She's got a pop-up this weekend. And so we've kind of like, we want to bring a new edge to Sierra Leonean food, because it's one of those places where, if there's ever an argument over jollof rice, You know, it's always Nigeria, like such and a vast array, you know what I mean? And Sierra Leonean food, you know, is more than just jollof. I mean, I've probably eaten jollof twice since I've been here. You don't see it. You know, you see cassava leaves, you see crane, you see green, you know what I mean? You see granat, you see, you know, you don't see a lot of jollof rice. They don't eat it here. So for me, it's about really bringing Sierra Leonean food. I want to bring my edge to it. I want to bring my unique edge to that, and make it into something, and bring it into, you know, to 2020 with my own spin on it, basically. And it's women like that that inspire me to do that. You know, women like, you know, like I said, Renata's Cuisine. She's on Instagram. Maria Bradford, who's on Instagram. You know, we have some amazing women. We have Afrinape, who's in the UK. We have Nikki, who's based in, who's American, who's based here now, just traveling around and exploring the food as well. So we've got some amazing women here, chefs, men and women, who are doing really good things. So it's really about, I want to embrace that. I want my experience of food here to be not just representative of Africa and Sierra Leone, but all my travels and all my experiences. Because I feel that food constantly evolves. You know, my parents are Sierra Leonean. You know, I'm a child of Sierra Leoneans, but, you know, my heritage is, you know, is also embraced by the things that I've experienced back in the UK. It's full, it's broad. So that's the plan. Right, so the mixture's bubbling now. I think another 2 minutes, then so I'll just show you what it looks like. Oh, Leonie, if you could smell this, Gail, honestly. If you could smell this, the pepper and everything, you would just be like, ah. So that's just boiling nicely. I'm going to give it another 3 minutes just to kind of like go down a little bit more.
Okay.
And then 3 minutes, just 3 more minutes. And then I am going to add, actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to give it 3 more minutes, just 3 more minutes. 3 more minutes. 3 minutes, yeah.
I have a question from someone in the audience, and they said thank you for today's talk. But they said, what time of day would this traditionally be eaten? And would it be eaten with other dishes or just one of the grains you mentioned?
Rice.
Rice is the main one.
In Africa, we would eat granite with rice. We would eat granite with rice. But we have here in Syria, we have fonio, we have bulgur, we have breads. But I've noticed that when I eat in the house, if I say, oh, you know, let's get a bit of bread, they just look at me and start laughing. They're like, Auntie, what are you doing? Why are you eating bread with that? It's not, you know, they're very particular, you know, it is what it is. That's how they eat it. That's how they expect you to eat it. But I mean, I would eat it with like fonio. You know, we can get fonio here. It's very inexpensive in the markets. We can get bulgur. You know, I would eat it with couscous. I've served it with jollof rice. But traditionally, if you ask the traditional Sierra Leonean, this like, no, just give me the white rice. Okay. Don't you know? Don't try and tell me any stories. Just give me the white rice. So I'm going to cut, actually, while that's just boiling for another minute, I'm going to slice my carrots. I mean, I must say, even the recipe that I've created for this, you know, carrots is not something that is traditionally eaten. Carrots is something that is not traditionally eaten with this dish. What I found was that when I became plant-based, I needed to find alternatives to chicken. Okay? I needed to find alternative things to chicken. Sorry, I'm just going to chop my carrots. My cousin's going to hold the camera. So I needed to find alternatives to chicken that I could eat to go with my groundnut. And I just thought, carrots. You know, it's a hearty vegetable. They're chunky. You know, they carry flavors well. I'm just going to cook carrots. So that's exactly what I put in mine. And I put spinach in there, which you normally would not have in groundnuts. So it is different from, you know, a traditional groundnut that people would normally eat. So my carrots are all chopped now into nice chunks. Okay? So, yeah, so, hold on. So, you know, I would, people wouldn't normally, so as you can see, the mixture's coming up, it's come up really, really well. It's boiling lovely. It's bubbling nicely. So, yes, as I was saying, so you normally wouldn't put, at this stage, you've got your seasonings, your salt, your black pepper, your carrots. In, put those in. Let's leave the carrots in. Boil up a little bit just to soften slightly before we kind of add everything else. Well, as I was saying, yeah, so you would, you know, I had to find ways to be creative with my food. And so for me, it was like, you know, what kind of vegetables do I eat? You know, you don't normally put spinach in granite. Even in Ghana, you wouldn't put spinach in granite. You would eat it with fufu. You would eat it with you know, with that sort of thing. But I just thought, you know, I want to put, you know, I'm a chef. I'm going to do what I feel is going to be good for me. And I discovered that, you know, carrots worked, and chickpeas worked, and spinach worked. And so I remember the day I was doing an event, and I thought, okay, what can I cook? This dish has been on my menu since 2014. I'm not taking it off. I would do events in Liverpool. There's a market in Liverpool called Granby Street Market, where I started trading in Liverpool, and you know, a lovely little market. And I remember the first day I started trading there, I sold out.
Wow.
And it was, honestly, I sold out. I've taken it off the menu a couple of times and guaranteed people will come back and say, have you got that groundnut? And I thought, you know what? It's not about me making a huge amount of money. It's not about me making, you know, because this chef life is not, it's, you know what I mean? It's not a money maker. It's really about passion. It's really about me, you know, showing people that this is what African food is like. And I've cooked this dish since 2014 to sell. Oh, sorry, since 2014 to sell. And it's been an amazing journey. And so and it's only now that it's actually kind of like, you know, I'm seeing people say, oh, you're the lady that makes that groundnut, you know, and it's people that normally will not have access to African food. It's people who are from Nigeria that don't really consume groundnuts. It's people from South Africa. It's people from Britain. It's people from all over the world. I feel that, you know, we're living in a time, you know, Black Lives Matter movement, etc. People are kind of like people are becoming more conscious of not just only how they're eating, but also embracing other things as well outside of themselves. And I think we are taking on that role, you know, as people of color. We are kind of like spearheading the movement towards ensuring, like, you know, we've got people like Riaz, we've got people that are really trying to put, you know, African and Caribbean food on the map. You know, so it's a really unique time now. It's a really unique time. So this dish for me, you know, like I said, 2014, I've been cooking this. I don't take it off. I don't take it off the menu. I just want, because there's so much more, you know, to this dish in terms of what could be done with it. And I want people just to understand this is the food that I love. I'm going to cook it. The same way, you know, somebody who is Italian may cook spaghetti every day. I'm going to cook this. I'm going to sing this from the rooftop every day. It's a beautiful dish, you know. And I love all the versions that I've had. I love the Ghanaian version of it. You know, I ate so much of it in Ghana. You know, with beautiful fufu, you know, sort of thing. So, you know, yeah, it was delicious. So the carrots are softened now. The carrots have been like a few minutes. They're kind of like getting tender in there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add my peanut butter. So we're going to add that now. Let me just turn the camera around for you. So this is the peanut butter. And the mixture is bubbling. Can you see that? Okay, so the mixture is bubbling. I'm now going to add the peanut butter into here. That's just bubbling away nicely. We'll just break up the peanut butter and add it into. And that's the 3 tablespoons of peanut butter. I'm going to add that in gradually. Sorry, I'm chewing gum here. Is that a bit loud, my gum chewing?
No, that's absolutely fine. I just wanted to ask, what seasonings do you prefer to use? What specific ones? Because you said you added.
Okay.
Which ones?
Okay, so some people prefer to use Maggi in Sierra Leone. A lot of Africans will use Maggi. My family use Maggi. When I say to them, I don't want to use Maggi, they think I'm crazy. That's okay. That's okay. So peanut butter is in there now. Now, as a chef, I feel that just put the lid back on that. So I feel as a chef, you don't have to use Maggi. You just don't need to use it. It's monosodium glutamate, and that's fine. If you choose to use that, that's fine. But we know that with MSG, it gives you high blood pressure. So I'm not interested in using MSG in my food. But it's most definitely a personal preference. It's most definitely a personal preference. But I think for me, what I feel, sorry, I've got kids running around everywhere, want to come and join the fun. It's not happening. So what I prefer to use is just natural flavors. And we have in Ghana, in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, in Nigeria, we have ogiri. So this is, so we don't need to use things like Maggi. Maggi, kind of like came into this country, into these countries, and kind of like, we're giving away to people. They have like in Ghana, especially, we had like huge speakers, and the companies would come round and give out free Maggi. But there's actually a chef in America that was in one of those master chef shows. He did his masters. He's a Ghanaian guy, and he's kind of like, his career is kind of like taken off. And I found out that he did his graduate thesis on Maggi and the dangers of Maggi in cooking. This guy, I can't remember his name. I know he's a Ghanaian guy, young guy. Was in a chef competition and lost out in the competition. But I read that he'd written his degree paper, his final paper. It was a research paper that he did on Maggi and the dangers of it in Ghana. He actually went to Ghana to write it, so that was quite interesting. So we know that we've always had original seasonings and original flavorings to season our food, to salt our food. We have amazing salt here. I found out in Yari Bay, and also they call it pink lady salt. We have pink salt in Africa. We have pink salt in Yari Bay here in Sierra Leone. We have also ogiri. Now, ogiri is a fermented paste made of sesame seeds. And there's also another paste as well, which is fermented using locust beans. Those seasonings, when fermented down, give your food such a unique flavor. They are a wonderful base for African food. So I don't feel that we need to be kind of like championing Maggi.
Yeah. We
don't need to be championing processed food. I don't understand what the obsession is. But I think there's an element of colonialism to that.
Yeah.
And the idea, and I think it was given to us, and I think somehow, like I said, when I was in Ghana, they had a huge roadshow, and they were giving that stuff out for free. They were giving it out for free by the truckload. They have aprons, they have tablecloths with Maggi written all over them. I saw them in Liberia. It's not how we eat. That's not how we should be eating. I feel that there's so much amazing food here in Sierra Leone that we don't need to. We have healthier alternatives to eating good food in Africa. And like I said, we have these amazing fermented ingredients that can season our food naturally and so beautifully, and are complementary to the natural ingredients and flavors of the food. So I think we need to get our head around that, around our seasoning, the idea of seasoning. But like I said, it's so ingrained now with people here in Sierra Leone. If you say to them, "Oh, listen, don't use that. Don't use that Maggi," it's going to take a lot of years to unravel. And this is why I think it's so important that young people, old people, if you are exploring plant-based food, if you're exploring food, healthy food, good quality ingredients, and it's really about if you've got those skills and you want to come back to Africa, I would say bring your skills and come back. Come here, and explore, engage. Don't take over, because you know what I mean. I'm still a black person with a Scouse accent, but bring your ideas and bring your creativity to Africa and share. So yes, so this is not okay. I'm going to show you now. Does that answer your question, Leonie?
Yes.
And how are we for time? How are we for time, love? 15 minutes.
15 minutes left, but honestly, what you said about seasoning is so true. And I did even want to ask about the types of seasoning you use, because I know that can be a blocker to some people pursuing plant-based diets, vegetarian diets, because of what is in the seasoning. So I know lots of people to hear, as you've already mentioned, about alternatives to these processed MSG-based. Oh, the color looks amazing as well.
See that? I'm just going to get my cousin who's... Stand there, cousin. Stand there, cousin, and just hold that, please. So, this is... Can you see now? It's just a lovely, lovely roux. A lovely roux. It's just a lovely... And you can see the edges as well. It's going to thicken. It's going to thicken. And the carrots are all coming through. We haven't got smell and vision here, but boy, it does smell delicious. Now, I'm going to leave that on for another 2 minutes. Can you just time that for me, please, Leonie? Just time that for me for 2 more minutes. Let that boil up, and then we're going to add to that. We're going to add our vegetables. We're going to add our greens, and we're going to add our beans. I think we're almost ready to go. Just give it 2 more minutes, and then we're going to add these to it. So yes, you were saying, darling. You were saying about the
you spoke about we have some other questions.
Sure, yeah, go on.
Do you have any plans of writing or publishing a cookbook, just for yourself? And
I am, yeah. Another question?
Yes, and the next question was basically them talking about why would you want to use ready-made stuff when there's so many good ingredients, and they've already started using it to make a curry as well. So
I think that's more of a point as opposed to a question. But why would you want to use anything other than ingredients that are not that MSG? Yeah, that's a point, isn't it? As opposed to a question. And the other question was about
your book.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, because I've traveled, I'm writing a book at the moment. I'm currently writing. I'm currently writing for somebody. I'm writing for somebody else's book in America. A recipe and an essay. And I can't discuss that right now, but I'm really excited about that project. Very excited about that project. Very privileged to be part of that. So if you follow me on Bettylicious Cooks on Gmail, on on Thingy, then you'll know a little bit more about that when that book comes out next year. But I'm very honoured to be part of that book. I'm also writing a book that I kind of like. It's an ebook actually that I'm writing. I'm writing an ebook. So originally I was writing my own book about my travels across Africa and food, like a memoir. And then COVID happened. And I kind of like saw what was happening to like Black women, again, would be marginalized everyone's like, Black Lives Matter. And then suddenly it was like, bam, the quietness came. And I thought, no, we've kind of like gathered Black women, and we've pioneered in the kitchen. We've done amazing things with food in the kitchen, and yet our voices continue to. I don't want it to be a situation where people feel guilty, so they want to jump on our bandwagon, and then suddenly it all dies down and we're forgotten about. So I sat down and thought, what can I do to celebrate women? And I decided I was going to write a book called Gather at the Table. Gather at the Table. And basically, I just reached out to women that I knew initially in the UK. And then I kind of like discovered women across the world. I discovered chefs and Black women in Brazil. I discovered Black women in Senegal. I discovered Black women in Japan who cook Senegalese food, who are championing African food in Japan. And people are like, wow, is this Senegalese African food? I met women in Australia who were championing Black food. I began to meet women all over the world, Italy, France, Cameroon, you know, just all over, you know, I met women from South Africa, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, Uganda, and I got to meet all these women involved in food, women who cook food, women who sell food and cook food, who cook it in the streets and sell it on the streets, women in restaurants. I met farmers, I met writers, I met women, Black women who've pioneered farms in Canada. You know, I met all, and I said, you know what? And I ended up being a book of 70 women, of their stories. So this book is out on the 8th of March of next year. It's a charity book. It's called Gather. So if you follow that Instagram account, it's Gather at the Table, WRLD, WRL, Gather at the Table, WRLD. And that is going to be out next year on International Women's Day on the 8th. And it's a book of 70 stories of women across the world, from as far as Brazil to Palestine to just Uganda. And it's all of these women Gather at the Table, WRLD. Thank you for following there, Hannah. Thank you for following Hannah. I was just seeing you just on the notification there, getting some followers there. Thank you very much, guys. So that's going to be a book about women across the world. We're going to have women, these chefs and cocktail, people that deal with drinks, only with drinks, that create amazing drinks. We've got a chef, a pastry chef that works in an Italian restaurant. She's a head pastry chef and she's a Black woman and she's the head pastry chef in an Italian restaurant. We've got women from all over the world in this book and they're all representing food. Some are writing poems, some are writing essays, some are writing love stories, love letters to their mothers, love letters to their children about food, different stories. Some are just like, you know, just beautiful words, and they all will write a recipe to go with their thing in the book. And that's going to be out next year, 8th of March. So please follow that. I'm looking forward to the book coming out. I'm so looking forward to it. So we're working on that. Myself and a few friends are working on that. So let's just crack over to the food. So please, guys, do follow that.
That really does sound amazing. That book sounds like so exceptional read. And 70
so actually
recipes.
70 women across the world, 70 women gather at the table, WRLD, and it's from Sierra Leone, and it's taking up a lot of my time. It's literally a full time, but I'm loving it, and I'm loving meeting the women who are coming on board. We've got editors from the UK in the food industry. We've got writers from America who've come on board and said, yes, we want to be a part of this vision. You know, there's just so much amazing women involved in this. So now, can you see the consistency, Leonie? It's changed. Can you see how it's just thickened by itself? Those just 3 tablespoons of good quality groundnut. Peanut butter is the same thing. Creates this lovely, lovely thick sauce. Now we're going to add our beans, and we call beans in Sierra Leone binch. We call them binch here in Sierra Leone. So those are the binch. We're going to add those. We're going to add those. And stir those in. You see that? Leonie, can you see that?
Yeah, no, it's looking good. The consistency as well, it's looking nice.
It's looking very nice, isn't it? So we're just going to mix that in. And that basically will be ready. Now, the beans are already cooked, by the way. The beans are already cooked in.
Okay.
But that will be ready in about not even 5 minutes. Not even 5 minutes. Just put the lid on, let that cook right through. The carrots are lovely. The carrots are all nice and tender. You can see them there. Can you see that?
Yes. We do have a couple of questions from the audience as well. Somebody asked about, for those of us who can't find traditional
water.
Sorry?
Like,
those of us.
Oh, the smell. Oh, Leonie, the smell. The smell is just delicious. You know what? I'm sorry. Let's just take a moment to pause, please. Let me just take a moment to just pause. People, I wish you were here, because if you could smell this food now, believe me, if you haven't got the book, please go over to community, was it Comfort? Community Kitchen, and buy this book. Please, because it's still available, and all the money goes to an amazing cause, and the money went to the Bella Initiative that are doing amazing work with families that have been affected by COVID. So please, if you haven't bought the book, please go over to Community Comfort at Instagram, Community Comfort, and the book is about a tenner. But you've got chefs, you've got literally over 100 recipes in there, mine's in there. And there's just a whole host of other chefs and lots of plant-based ingredients. Honestly, my dish is just amazing. And it's so simple to cook. We've talked for an hour, sis. I think you could have been here sitting in my kitchen with a glass of wine, us cooking, talking and eating. It was that quick to make. So people, if you've got a tenner, if you can afford it, please, go and buy this book and support this amazing cause, because the money goes towards the Bella Initiative that are doing amazing work with people that really do need it. I think the link is down there for everyone to access. Please, buy this book, because the food just tastes amazing. This dish, even though I made it myself, I must say it really does taste amazing. There's so much flavour in it, and there's not an ounce of meat. So please, buy the book. But please buy the book. Please support the cause. Support families that have been truly affected by COVID. Difference for them in their lives, with counselling services, etc., and mental health support, etc. Please, buy the book if you can, if you haven't got it already. Buy or reach out to me for the details if you want to reach out to me, and follow me on Instagram as well. Everybody, people, follow me. Follow my journey follow my journey across Sierra Leone. You are most welcome. I look forward to going to Senegal next year as well. I'm going to go to Senegal for a little while, and also to Mali and Cameroon. So I'll be doing that, the Gambia as well next year, to do some research on food as well there. So yeah, sorry, Uni, sorry. What is it you want to?
That was so true. Like, please do go and purchase the book if you can. The donations.
Yeah, please.
Fund, which helps specifically the BAME community who have been disproportionately affected by COVID. So you have about 4 minutes left. So I'm just going to ask you these last two questions.
Sure.
Someone said, what do you suggest for those of us who can't find traditional ingredients like ogori? Like, what can they use?
Hello. Go to supermarket and look on the back of stock cubes. Look on the back of stock cubes and just get yourself a good quality stock cube. Kallo, Kallo, do really good stock cubes. And also there's another brand as well that I use for my big catering jobs, but I've forgotten the name of it now. Something Vita. You know what? I will put a list of seasonings on my Insta story. No, what I'll do is I'll put up a post tomorrow with stocks and seasonings that you can use as an alternative to Maggi that I use for my cooking. I'll put a list up of those that you can access in my story, and on a post tomorrow, I will put that up. So those that are interested, the post will be up tomorrow on Bettylicious Cooks. It will be there. So all the information will be there in terms of what seasons to use. But there are brands. I mean, if you look in the supermarket, you go to the supermarket, get a good quality stock cube, look on the back and read it. You'll be surprised. A lot of them contain MSG. So look at the back for the ones that don't.
Thank you. And I guess the last question was like, what time of day would you eat this food? Is there a specific time? Or
anytime.
Morning, night?
Listen, when I finish this, I'm going to eat now. So it's 7 o'clock in Africa. It's 7 o'clock at the same time, on the same time scale as you. I would eat this now in the evening, in the daytime, in hot weather, in cold weather. They eat it hot here in Africa, and it's hot weather now. So anytime you would eat this dish, anytime. Yeah.
Oh, somebody has asked another question. Do you have a recommendation peanut butter from the UK that you'd recommend?
Oh, yes. Oh gosh, you know what? I can't remember the names of the peanut butters. But anyone would do. Any good quality peanut butter would do. But there's one that I use, but I've forgotten. And I buy big 5 kg tubs of this stuff as well. I will also put a post. I will also share that on my story as well, of the brands that I use that I think are just amazing. I can't remember the name of it.
You've been in Africa.
Yeah, I've been here for a year now, so kind of like, but I need to kind of like get my mind back. I think someone said Marigold Organic. Marigold's a very good brand. Marigold's a very good brand of stock. Seasoning. Marigold's very good. Someone said Marigold's very good. But the peanut butter, I just can't think of the brand, but it's a very good brand. And I'll fish it out, because I used to buy like pallets of the stuff. And I found that was a very good quality. It was very good quality, no added sugar, organic, just really good quality. I'll get that to you guys. I'll get that to you. Meridian, ha! That's it. Meridian, Meridian. Meridian is a very good quality peanut butter. Buy the smooth, don't get the crunchy.
Okay.
The smooth peanut butter goes an awful long way. It goes an awful long way.
So as we come to the end, let us see the final product, please.
So this is it. Oh gosh, not my face, not my face. This is the final product. There you go, guys. We can turn that off now. We can turn that off. And then we would sit. How long have we got now? How many minutes have we got now?
So we have 0 minutes.
Okay.
People want to stay and see how you finish it off.
Okay. So we have more time. Oh, that's fantastic. You get rice. Bring some more rice on it. Now that's something safe. Okay. What we're gonna dish it up in a plate for you, and then my cousin's gonna taste it for us. Just give me 1 second, guys. We're just gonna get a plate. We're gonna get a plate, put some rice in, and then we're gonna taste and see what it tastes like. We eat rice all the time in Sierra Leone. We eat rice every day in Sierra Leone. We eat it every single day. Use this one. We eat rice all the time in Africa, in Sierra Leone, especially Sierra Leone and Liberia. We eat rice in the morning. We call it cold rice, cold rice. They eat rice in the morning. Everything is rice here. And I'm trying to get out of that. I'm trying to get and I try and stick to other grains other than rice here in Sierra Leone. Because all the weight that I lost in Ghana, I kind of it crept back up in Sierra Leone because it was like a rice fest. And I said, no, I'm sorry. I'm not about that life. So I tend to use other grains, to eat with my food. But I tend to just have just different types of carbs, really. I don't deny myself flavor either. So this is the rice. Let me just that's a bit of rice there. You can see that. I'm going to get my cousin to hold the light up above the food. That's it. So that's the rice. And now we're that's a bit of rice there. Can you see that? That's just a bit of cooked rice that we've got. And now we're just going to go over to the groundnuts. It's just lovely. The groundnut just looks so lovely. See, we've got our potato leaves in there. We've got our beautiful beans, our carrots. Can you just see that?
Yeah, no, it looks amazing. The
colors as well. People, don't jealous us. Don't be jealous. Don't jealous. Don't jealous we. Don't jealous Sierra Leone. Just gonna put that on our rice. Put that on our rice. There you go. Just put a little bit more. I mean, and there's enough basically. There's enough here to last you. A very long time. This could easily be frozen as well. This can be frozen and eaten. Take it to lunch, take it to work. Share it with the family. This could easily feed a family of over 2 or 3 days easily. So that is can you see that? So let's get a spoon and taste it. Let's get a spoon and taste it. Shall I taste it, Leonie?
Yes, I wish I could have some as well. I've watched this whole journey and now I'm upset I can't participate in the final product.
Oh, 1 second.
We'll just watch you enjoy.
Okay. Wow. Oh, the carrots are lovely. Got a lovely little crisp bite to it. Let me just say. Oh, lovely. All that need is just a little bit of salt. All it needs is because there's no salt in there. But I can eat that like that. But if my mother eats this, she'll say to me, "Yes, there's salt."
Thank you. For enjoying. Enjoy. Thank you so much. Honestly, thank you so much for taking us through that
Leonie.
journey.
Leonie, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And you must come to Sierra Leone. You must come out here. And when I go to Ghana next time, I must meet up with you as well. It's been a lovely pleasure talking to you and also talking to everybody else as well. Thank you very much indeed, Aisha Khan. Thank you very much, Tracy Durant of the Better Initiative for hosting this amazing opportunity to share with people. It's always a pleasure to, to kind of like bring African food to the forefront. And this has been a fantastic platform. Thank you very much indeed, Leonie, for hosting. I've had a fantastic evening. It's gone quickly. But thank you very much for your time today. Thank you. And I'm glad that you enjoyed the food. Like I said, buy the book, everybody. It's there. Enjoy.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Helen Birchett. Thank you, Helen Birchett, as well. She followed me. She came to one of my classes in the UK. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Have a fantastic evening. Mwah. Thanks, Leonie.